control the vertical.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthologic with your host Mark, and joined today by Sam. Hi Sam.
Hey there.
So Night Gallery. This is the fourth episode in season one. So with the pilot, this is the fifth one we've looked at. Has two episodes. This first aired on January the 6th. 1971. So, oh man, what's that? 48 years or something? 48 years ago. So 2 episodes, Make Me Laugh and Clean Kills and Other Trophies. An episode I hear often bandied about when people talk about Night Gallery, Clean Kills. It's kind of a famous, infamous one. So, but we'll come to that second. The first one is Make Me Laugh, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Interesting. It was weird, right? It was very weird. It didn't stand out particularly in terms of direction, did it? It was like a standard TV episode. Interestingly, the other one he directed was in the pilot, the one with Joan Crawford. Was it Eyes?
Eyes.
Eyes. And interestingly, in that episode, Tom Bosley was in that as the guy that gave up his eyes. He appears in this episode as the agent of a failing comic. And he gives the agent's name did he call him Booby or something? Or something like that.
I can't remember.
He's got a pet name for the comic, right? Yeah. It's a bit weird, really. So we get a comic. We see him in a CD club. It's like a burlesque club, doing his routine. His name's Jackie Slater, and it's played by Godfrey Cambridge. He's a black actor. I haven't seen him much, but I have seen him in stuff. He's fairly charismatic. What do you think of him?
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, in this role, he wasn't very sympathetic, and I think it could have done with a little more sympathy. Someone a little more sympathetic, perhaps.
See, I was that's what I was kind of expecting it to be when they meet back up in his dressing room after he's become successful. I kind of expecting it to have a happy ending almost.
Yes,
he'd sort of become reaffirmed that's what he did want to make people laugh, and it didn't really matter how he was making them laugh. Yeah. Even if it was boring. So that's what I was kind of hoping was going to happen.
Yeah, he just reconcile himself to it or something.
Yeah. But the ending was kind of, lame. It was just so telegraphed. I understand this may have been, one of the first ones to do this, but, I feel like I've heard this story before a lot.
Yeah, well, it's essentially the monkey's paw. You know, you careful what you wish for kind of story.
No,
right?
Specifically this story, a guy is able to make people laugh and he can't get a serious role.
Yeah, I mean, it's the story, it's the famous story about Pagliacci, a guy going to the doctor saying, I'm so miserable, I'm really unhappy, and the doctor says, go see Pagliacci tonight, he'll make you laugh, and he says, but doctor, I am Pagliacci. Is that one, right? That's kind of story as well. So basically we see his terrible jokes in this nightclub, and everyone's kind of ignoring it. He's got some really old, stinky jokes. I sent my wife to the West Indies, Jamaica, and he's got and stuff like that. How'd you make a Venetian blind? Poke him in the eye. All that kind of stuff. and it's kind of a bit sad and tragic. And he talks about glory days where he used to do stuff, he used to pack out the house and stuff like that. But Tom Bosley is his manager who kind of sympathises but really can't make a living from him anymore, kind of thing, because he's just good. We do see Grandpa Munster in this, don't we?
Oh yeah,
as the Mr. Mishkin, the nightclub owner, who books him for what was it, a week or two? And
it was 3 weeks, and he got a night. So
he said, "You could do another night tomorrow," and he's done. He goes, "But it takes me a while to warm up, and stuff like that." And it's going, there's a comment about something like, "It's going to take forever for your act to warm up," something like that. And he can't cut it, and he's sort of talking about, I just want to make people laugh. And he meets a Swami in a bar. Bit dodgy, this, right? Because this bloke does not look the least Indian, and he's an American fella with an American accent wearing a turban, in effect. And he's kind of really telegraphing it, saying, sometimes I can perform miracles, but sometimes they don't work out. There's small imperfections. So it's like, yep, this isn't going to work well.
It was kind of weird watching that, because it seemed almost like they'd been given 2 different scripts and they just rolled with one, with like the first shot where they the comedian would say one thing, and then the Swami would say something completely unrelated, and the comedian would go on with like his own conversation, and the Swami would continue like rambling on.
The script did feel like it needed a bit of a polish, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I don't think I detected it. What you're talking about, but maybe if I rewatched it,
I don't mean literally, but it did seem a bit odd. So
yeah, it was. Well, I think it was more like the comedian was monologuing rather than having a conversation with him, right? And he basically wanted to laugh, and then we find out that anything he does, people start laughing at. So he's getting great gigs, he's making money, but what he's found is he's lost. Because he's not actually working to do it, it's not fun. Yeah. It's too easy. So he actually liked the crack of actually having to work out routines.
I think he specifically says the fight for it.
Yeah. So. He says Red Skelton takes months to work out something just for a chuckle, and I just walk on, say so. Didn't he say, I took my hat, take off my hat, and everyone cracks up. So he's talking about that. And in the end, he kind of sees the Swami again. He goes, give me one more wish. Doesn't he say, I can't do that or something? He says, I don't want people to laugh at me ever again. And then, spoiler,
It's nearly 50 years old. I don't think we need to spoiler it. So.
He gets hit by a car. And we see an old lady who's selling flowers who saw him run across the street, start crying. And then it ends. So it's a fairly cursory ending as well.
Did you... catch that she chuckled a bit too?
No, I didn't notice that. Oh, you think she's going to laugh? That's
she starts laughing and then stops and keeps jumping between.
It's kind of a bait and switch that, so it's interesting to see how Lewis and it was reasonably well acted. That I thought. It could have been played for a slightly more sympathetic character. But I kind of liked he was hard-bitten and sort of angry as well. And I was wondering if it was going to end with him, just being happy because no one laughs at him anymore. But it didn't kind of turn out like that. So, it was that. We also find out his agent as... Well, before he starts making people laugh again, his agent... dumped him, didn't he? Was it a band or something? I can't remember.
A steel
guitar band. He said steel guitar band, whatever that means.
Something like that.
I think he means electric guitar, but anyway. So so it was okay. It was okay. Let me see if I can check the IMDb rating on this one. I can't find it. Oh, they're kind of joined together, so I can't rate each episode. But together they rate quite high. I think it's something like 7.6. 6.8. Sorry, 6.8. Okay, so that's the first one. Did you prefer? Which one did you prefer, the first or second?
I actually preferred the second one a bit.
So did I. The second one's quite highly rated in Night Gallery lore. I think because it's much more an EC Comics kind of story. Do you know what I mean? Be careful what you wish for. It's been done over and over. It's been done in the Twilight Zone, for example, and in various other stories. Whereas Clean Kills and Other Trophies is a bit more, gruesome comic fare, isn't it? So in this one, we get the famous actor, and this is Raymond Massey, who's been in lots of things from the 30s and 40s. I remember him, for example, he played in a film called Arsenic and Old Lace. He played this creepy brother of this family, and everyone kept commenting he looked like Boris Karloff, and he was made up to look quite a bit like Boris Karloff as well. It's kind of funny, and it's even funnier if you know the original stage play. That role was played by Boris Karloff. So can you imagine going to see a comedy with Boris Karloff, where people are going on about he looks like Boris Karloff? That would have been quite funny.
God, that must have been mental.
Yeah. So Roman Massey's this horrible person. He looks more like this guy's granddad than his dad, actually. That he's talking about. He's a bit old for this, but he basically wants his son to kill an animal by hunting, otherwise it will disinherit him, basically. And he's signed all the paperwork to say if he doesn't kill an animal by midnight, he won't get anything. And the lawyer's there on his behalf, but he's saying to the son, look, I can't represent you, but, this is ridiculous. You could definitely get this overturned if you took it to the law courts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the son, he didn't have many lines, did he? And he wasn't a great actor, so that didn't help.
No, but I felt like
but it worked.
Almost,
yeah,
so.
It kind of worked. I like the fact he didn't want to take it to court. He kind of semi-admired his father, even though he didn't like what he was saying.
And it's abuse, so...
Yeah.
It's kind of
it's a bit of Stockholm Syndrome, right? Something like that, or something akin to that. But he was actually saying, no, I think he's the norm for the 20th century man. So, Junior is a bit of an emo type. A bit of a wussy, but he doesn't want to hunt, and his dad wants him to hunt.
Well, it's hardly wussy if you don't want to go out.
No, I agree. I think hunting is a awful thing, personally, but it was kind of presented that way. And the fact he wasn't, I think he could have done with a few more lines, but it was okay. And actually, even though he wasn't a great actor, it kind of worked. It worked. It didn't. It didn't detract from the story. And he finally agrees to go out hunting, but they don't get a clean kill. So not only has he said, "I want you to shoot an animal," when he shoots him wrong, he moans at him because they have to track it, right? They have to track it to kill it because he got hit in the lung instead of the heart or something like that. But then there's also this commentary about his butler being a pagan savage and all of this.
Yeah.
What with the Swami guy, American Swami guy in the first one, and him going on about this black fella being a sort of pagan savage and going on about stuff. Yeah. Is that a tinge of racism, really?
Yeah, there was I feel like it was more deliberate in this one. They didn't present the guy, even though the father was saying like he's a pagan savage. They didn't present him as like a bad person.
No, indeed an underling. Even he was kind of. I know he was a butler, but he was not subservient in his manner, was he at all? And in fact, he talks to the lawyer at one point, and the lawyer says, "Why do you stay here?" Part of this, he goes, "For the sake of the son," is his response, which I kind of liked. I think that was a good little dynamic going on. And anyway, it's got a weird ending because it kind of abruptly changes into something else. He starts going on about the gods of the Congo know the art of vengeance. Know the art of vengeance, or something like that. He's talking about that, and he says, "Leave me," and this basically he prays to his gods is the kind of thing. And at one point, the old man and him are talking, and he's saying, "Yeah, but you hunt. What would your father have done if you hadn't hunted?" He says, "Yeah, but we hunt for food, not for pleasure."
Yeah.
Which is a big deal. I mean, I get hunting when you're hunting for food. I don't object to that. Hunting for pleasure, I personally do object to. It was kind of an interesting time. This was a more interesting story all round, actually. So I mean, the Colonel...
It's a shame it was completely let down by this really silly ending. So.
Yeah, well, do you find it silly? Because I think one of the reasons this episode's famous...
I was okay with him, like, opening the door, like, up until the point where it showed the guy's head on a wall.
Yeah.
And I was just maybe, like, have him turn into a deer or something, and, like, have him be shot.
Oh, maybe. Okay, yeah.
It's as silly, but it's, like, more karmic. So it feels more justified. So.
Yeah, I have definitely read EC-like comics where someone who's been bad to animals somehow turns into an animal and gets their justice. Yeah. I've definitely read that. I was quite surprised they showed him.
Going to go because, like, he started talking about how his head was on fire, and his head hurt, and. Like,
you think that meant he was going to change?
I thought he was going to like start sprouting antlers.
Yeah, it was unclear how his head became on the wall, right? I mean, did the butler cut his head off and mount it? Did he? Or what?
Did the butler do it, or did like some African Congo god?
Yeah.
Take the time to mount and stuff the head.
Yeah.
Just as showmanship, basically.
Like I say,
You know what? I like this more now that I've just suggested that. So.
It's definitely an EC Comics ending, for sure. I was quite surprised they actually showed it. I thought we'd just see reaction shots of people and you'd infer it, or they might do like the edge of it so you can't actually see it. But no, they show it full on, don't they? A bloke's head on a... What's it? Raymond Massey posing with his head stuck for a what's it?
Yeah, but he kept almost blinking. So
he's an old fellow. It must have been quite uncomfortable. I wasn't quite sure if it's a wax head at first, actually, but it looked like him. So if it was a wax head, well, you saw it move, right? I didn't notice that, I have to say, but I'd say this is. I mean, it's really both of these are fairly heavy-handed kind of scripts, aren't they? They're kind of on the button. There's no messing about. They get to the point. Though I think this one was a better script. I felt there was just more thought gone into it, and the motivations were well explained. You know, why the butler hung around. The feelings of the son weren't really vanilla. They were tinged with different aspects. So that worked quite well.
I also know something I noticed was like a nice little sort of background arc for the butler. Well, not really arc. It was like him manipulating the situation.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit where the son points a gun at the father.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's, if I remember correctly, that's after the butler does his little ritual.
Right.
And so, like, what happens to the hunter? He was stopping the son from getting, like, got by the gods.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the obvious thing was, he says, you need to kill an animal. And I thought the twist was going to be the son cracks and kills his father. But technically, his father's an animal, so therefore he satisfies the will and then goes to prison.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be something like that, but it was like, no, his head's on the wall and it ends, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I quite like this one.
We both liked it, but we both have thought up far better endings.
Yeah. So. I think one of the reasons it's remembered is because it's a memorable ending. Maybe not a strong ending, but it's a very it's definitely, you could say, oh yeah, it's the one where the guy's head's mounted on the wall at the end, right? That everyone would remember that. Whereas the other one is like, oh, it's the one where the bloke got run over at the end. Not as memorable. It's just not as memorable. So yeah. Okay, so we kind of like these pair, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll wind out there. Is that it? Hold on, there's there's a couple more to go before we finish season 1 of Night Gallery. But yeah, okay, cool. So we'll wind out there. So bye from me.
Bye.
And may I ask, is anybody out there?
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to...